Greetings again. Another part I wanted to share. Yeah, this is talking about when she had to go to court for an arraignment. So, they took her from prison and drove her to New Jersey for the arraignment, and she was talking about the big spectacle that it was, like the 12-car procession, police cars at every like intersection kind of blocking the way, as if it was preparing for some huge like high profile kind of, I don't know, and she made note. She was like, they were actually afraid. I'm just gonna read the part. She said, white people's fear of black people with guns will never cease to amaze me. Probably it's because they think about what they would do were they in our place, especially the police, who have done so much dirt to black people. Their guilty conscience tells them to be afraid. When black people seriously organize and take up arms to fight for our liberation, there will be a lot of white people who will drop dead from no other reason than their own guilt and fear. And there's so much, in that short little excerpt, right? But the part that got me is when she said, when black people seriously organize, so this is from the perspective of someone that is expecting that, those movements, the black liberation movements that had started back then. This is from the perspective of someone who did not see any other course than that continuing, that we would continue to stand up and demand, our rights fully. I think what's kind of happened, is that a lot of their tactics of, put fear in people, let's show them what happens when they try to stand up, and you make an example out of enough people and, I guess things kind of die out. And it's not just that, it's actually not just that. I feel like if it was just that, if it was just like this continuous like thing of violence to put us in our place, I think actually that probably would invigorate like more motivation to move, right? But what has happened is that people have gotten comfortable, right? Because small concessions over time have been made to kind of satiate, the desire for full liberation, right? So little handouts here and there to kind of quiet down, because you put people in a position of, desperate need, you put them in a place of deep fear and, and then you provide like a small piece of hope, a sliver of, a crumb of something, and, they think it's a lot more than it actually is. And slowly but surely, we get into a habit of settling for less than we are asking for, less than we deserve, and this is people in general, not just black people, but looking at the civil rights movement and looking at the plight of black people in America and the things that they've had to go through, that's something that is expanding, but we can look at, the struggle of black Americans in this country to give us an idea of, what just people, common everyday people in this country might soon start to experience. Look at ICE. Look at the ICE raids that have been taking place, and I mentioned in the other video, the first one I believe, you know, the idea of speech laws that are being enacted around the world, right? And the different ones that are going up for vote here in the United States, you know, putting two and two together, it's all connected. You know, the prisons that are, you know, being built, the speech laws, the hate speech, the designation, the isolation of, you know, anti-Semitic kind of focus, you know, to the exclusion of everything else. It's all connected, right? And I think we should really be, you know, paying attention, perhaps just a tad, a little bit. You know, we gotta wake up, you know, gotta wake up and look. It's like, hey, are you seeing this? You know, but yeah, no, we should, you know, be aware and, you know, come together and organize. You know, it's what she's talking about. When Black people seriously organize and take up arms to fight for liberation, you know, like, we really do need to organize. We need to come together. Not just Black people, right? We have to recognize the class war that it is, right? We are not each other's enemies. We have just been conditioned to believe that, right? Yeah. And to recognize, like, how they get us, you know, pushed apart. You know, anytime they want to divide and conquer, you'll find that there's one side that they're going to, you know, offer a little something to, that's going to help them, you know, feel a little bit more comfortable looking the other way while, you know, this side gets railed on, you know. And then this side getting railed on is now looking at those that are looking the other way and being like, what the fuck, you know. But, you know, it's like we're all being played. We're all being exploited, right? Our emotions, our labor, all of us, you know. So it's just allowing ourselves to recognize that, to recognize the ways that we're being used to perpetuate this oppressive system, right? And just set the intention and take, you know, little action by little action to kind of unweave, you know. And it's gonna take time, you know. It's not a matter of this happening tomorrow. That's not realistic, right? This is generational work that we're doing, right? That we're talking about. I mean, of course, there are more immediate things that will also advance and move forward, you know, but I'm just saying that, you know, a lot of the work that we're going to want to put in today is not necessarily going to be for us. You know, a lot of that is for future generations. Like, that's who we need to be thinking about. We tend to focus so much on the self, on the individual, right? But we are a whole collective. So yeah, thinking with that in mind, you know. And remembering that there are future generations ahead. So setting some, you know, solid foundations for them. But we have to start that now, right? Yeah. All right. With that, shall bid you adieu. Read the book. Read the book.